Good evening, this is Chuck W30M. I'm operating as W30C net control for the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club net. This radio net meets every Monday here at 8 p.m. on the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club repeater system. Excuse me, operating on the 147.12 and linked to 442.250 megahertz repeater, and also on Echolink. Membership in the Two Rivers ARC is not required to check into this net as our radio amateur welcome. If you'd like information about the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club, you can write to us at P.O. Box 225, Green Oak, PA, zip code 15047. We're also on the Internet's World Wide Web at https://trarc.org and also on Facebook. Radio Club meetings are held on the third Tuesday of every month except in December, starting at 7 p.m. at the Blaney Volunteer Fire Department, Social Hall, 409 Oxford Avenue, Elizabeth, PA. We're open this net for check-ins as emergency or priority traffic at this time. Heard, okay. Does anyone have listings of silent keys? Any radio amateurs who recently passed away? I haven't heard of anything lately. Let's see. We're going to take some check-ins here in a moment. Please, when you check into this net, give a call sign slowly and phonetically. It means spell out your call sign. And let me know if you have any comments for the net. If you're on Echolink, I'll hear you if you log in. So far, I've heard N3 Alpha Hotel Charlie on Echolink so far. All right, at this time, I'm looking at the officers of Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club wishing to check into the Two Rivers net.
W30C. Please recognize November 3, Juliet Hotel Bravo, portable, down here in Pleasant Hills, along with Kilo Bravo 3 Whiskey Papa and Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa in the sidecar. Good evening to everyone on the net. No traffic.
Net control. Net control, recognize Kilo 3, Charlie, Romeo, Oscar, John, Baldwin, no comments, no traffic.
Net control. Net control, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3, Uniform November Echo, Mike in North Huntington, no comments, no traffic.
Hey, thank you. I got November 3, Juliet Hotel Bravo, and entourage with him, Kilo Bravo 3 Whiskey Papa and Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa. They're all portable. Kilo 3 Charlie Radio Oscar, and Kilo Charlie 3 United November Echo. Any other members of the Two Rivers Board of Directors wishing to? And heard. All right, non-liquor stations are operating mobile, portable, right out of Allegheny County.
W3OC. W3OC, please copy Kilo Alpha 3, Yankee Golf Lima, portable, Bruce and Fayette County. Hello, Chuck, and hello to the whole net. No further comments.
Kilo Alpha 3 Yankee Kilo Lima. Yankee Golf Lima, portable. I couldn't read my own writing. Thank you. Anybody else mobile, portable, rides out of Allegheny County?
W3OC. Here's Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa, Dan, Beaver County. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to the net.
W3OC. This is Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Sierra Papa, Jim Portable in Carnegie.
W3OC. This is November 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie Antonio here in Pittsburgh on Echolink. Good evening, Chuck, and those on the net. I have no traffic.
Okay, at that time I got Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa, Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Sugar Papa Portable, November 3 Tango Alpha Uniform, and November 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie on Echo Link. Thank you. Anybody else mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County?
Control. Please copy Kilo 3 Romeo Whiskey Bravo, Bob in North Huntington.
Okay, Control. Kilo 3 Sierra Echo Mike, Stephen out here in northwestern Washington County.
At 30C. Please copy Kilo Alpha 3 Foxtrot Whiskey Quebec. Jeff in Greensburg. Good evening, everyone.
W3OC, please copy Kilo Charlie 3 Zulu India X-Ray, Jeff in Irwin.
Okay, at that time I got Kilo 3 Radio Whiskey Bravo, Kilo 3 Sierra Echo Mexico, Kilo Alpha 3 Fox Whiskey Quebec, Kilo Charlie 3 Zulu India X-Ray, I believe it's on Echo Link. Okay, anybody else mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County? Okay, got Kilo Charlie 3 Zulu Charlie Sierra Mobile. Okay, all right, now we're moving upward, John. We'll check you. Doing else like you check in, and not so call now.
W3OC, Whiskey Alpha 3, India Oscar Uniform.
WC, this is November 3 Juliet Papa Quebec. Kurt in Norfolk Sales. Good evening to net. No comments.
W3OC, Alpha 3 Bravo Oscar Juliet, 10 Squirrel Hill. Good evening to you, Chuck. Good evening, net. No traffic.
WC, 03 Hotel India Romeo, Merle and Elizabeth Township. Okay, at that time I got Whiskey America 3 India Oscar Uniform, November 3 Juliet Papa Quebec, Whiskey America 3 Bravo Oscar Japan, and Kilo 3 Hotel India Radio. Anybody else? All right, we'll take a standby for that. Thank you all for taking the time to check rooms this evening. I got some general announcements, of course, and we have Newsline keyed up on the computer over here. And I think we should be okay with that tonight. All righty, let's see here. Two Rivers Radio Club activities that we have during the course of the month, or things that are coming up. We have a total of 4 radio nets that meets during the week. Of course, you know about this one. This is on Monday nights. Wednesday night, we have the Two Rivers ARC Gap Nets, a social net. Meets at 8:30 p.m. on this repeater system. And, of course, with Echo Link also. On Thursday night, we're on 10 meters at 28,460 kilohertz, upper sideband. The only night we're not on 10 meters is the night we have operations tonight. I'll get into that here in a moment. Then on Friday nights we have the 40-meter net. It meets at 6 p.m. Local time on frequency 7215 kilohertz, roughly about that on the 40-meter band. Sometimes we move frequency because of other activities on that frequency. So a lot of times someone will announce it here on the repeater what actual frequency we're on. As an example, last week we were supposed to be on 7215, but due to activity we're on 7211. So we do move around a little bit with that. We have radio club meetings coming up on the third Tuesday of the month. Let's see, what else we have? On the second Thursday of each month, we have Operations Night. Meets at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department Social Hall, 4312 Liberty Way, up in Elizabeth, PA. It's in Liberty Borough. Welcome to join us. It's a social gathering. Also, we get on the air and operate on HF with a system we use. A thing called a quadplexer. It's a gizmo that allows us to use one antenna on with four different radios. 4 different radios on different bands. So it's always a fun event. That's once a month on the second Thursday at 7 p.m. And on the second Saturday of each month, we have a social gathering for members and their families. That's called the Hams and Eggs Breakfast. That's held at a local restaurant. Currently, we're using the Rock Run Inn, and that's located on Rock Run Road at Butler's Golf Course. It's right off of, it's actually, address is Elizabeth, PA. It's actually right off of Route 48. It's in Elizabeth, PA, but it's right off of Route 48. So welcome to join us for that. Okay, looking at the calendar of other things that the Radio Club has coming up. Okay, we also have the announcement for the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club Hamfest for next year. It's April 6th, scheduled for the at 8 a.m. at the Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department, Social Hall, 4312 Liberty Way, Elizabeth, PA. We'll have more information on that as we get a little bit closer. So that's on April the 6th. That's at a new location. Okay, looking at the regular calendar of things coming up. Of course, tomorrow's the biggie. Tomorrow's Election Day. I hope everybody who hasn't voted will be out there doing their civic duty and voting. I understand the polls open it up at 7 a.m. and run till 8 p.m. A lot of us have voted by mail or absentee ballot, as they call it. So that's tomorrow on the 5th. On the 9th of November, the Amateur Radio Emergency Service has a meeting at 9:30 a.m. at the Skyview Radio Society up on Turkey Ridge Road in New Kensington, PA. And of course, on the 9th is the same day we have our Hams and Eggs Breakfast at the Rock Run Inn, as I previously mentioned. The 14th is our Two Rivers ARC Operations Night, as I mentioned before, up at the Lincoln Borough Social Hall. Meetings on the 19th, Radio Club meeting at 7 p.m. at Blaine Hill at 409 Oxford Drive, it is, Elizabeth, PA. The 16th through the 18th is a contest. The ARL Sweepstakes single sideband mode is on the 16th and 18th. It's a very popular activity. Toward the end of the month, on the 23rd and 24th, is the second part of the CQ Worldwide DX contest. That's CW mode. That's coming up on the 23rd and 24th of November. And, of course, we have the 28th of the Thanksgiving celebration. Okay, on December the 10th is the next Two Rivers ARC exam session. That's at 6:30 p.m. at the McKeesport High School. That's located on Eastport Boulevard, McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Well, one thing I didn't mention is the Two Rivers ARC holiday dinner for the social gathering for members and their families and guests. That's on the 14th of December. Starts at 1 p.m. at the Rock Run Inn, located on Rock Run Road at Butler's Golf Course. Note that it has limited occupancy, so members are encouraged to get registered for that because there's a limit on the amount of people that can fit in the room we're using. It's a nice affair. That starts at 1 p.m. That's the holiday dinner. By now, all club members should have received a flyer with all the information on it. You should try to get that filled out and get it sent in. Okay, looking at the calendar a little bit further out. Okay, some people have been asking about Hamfest and stuff. I found a little bit on the internet. January 11th is Winterfest. That's held in at a Veterans Hall over in Harrisburg, PA. It's a little further away, but that's coming up. On 23rd of February is the Wires Association of South Hills Wash Fest. That's the same location they've used for many years, South Park Home and Economics Building, 3735 Buffalo Drive in South Park Township, PA. And of course, I mentioned the Two Rivers Ham Fest on April the 6th at Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department. So that's kind of the listing of some of the activities we have coming up, and you're encouraged to participate in these kind of things if you can. I know last weekend we had the CQ Worldwide DX contest was on the air. Quite a lot of activity on the HF band. 10 meters was wide open pretty much, as this operator found, from frequencies in 28.3 all the way up past 29.1. There were stations on the air from pretty much all over the world. So that's that's probably the busiest contest there is during the course of every year. Okay, that one's already over with. Alrighty, let's see, I think that's what I got. I'm going to take a standby. Does anybody need any repeats for anything they've heard? This W3OC.
W3OC, please copy Kilo Bravo 3 Oscar X-Ray Hotel, Bill in Hancock County, West Virginia. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Kilo Bravo 3 Oscar X-Ray Hotel. Thank you. Alrighty, I don't have any more. Let me see what we got. Hopefully my internet, my playback will work okay tonight. I think it's got it all worked out. So let's see what Newsline's got tonight. This is W3OC Newsline.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2453 with a release date of Friday, November 1st, 2024 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. Delays announced for new changes to UK amateur licenses. Hams playing on-air tributes for wireless pioneers in India and Brazil, and a New York club remembers a silent key who was there from the very start. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2453 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Union, Kentucky, here's Neil Rapp, WB9VPG.
Our top story comes to us from the UK, where ongoing changes to amateur radio licenses have come to a halt. Additional changes set for later this year have been delayed as the result of what the regulator calls system development issues. We have the details from Jeremy Boot, G4 in JH.
Hams in the UK who've been expecting additional changes in the licensing system before the end of this year are going to have to wait a bit longer for them to take effect, according to the regulator Ofcom. A recent announcement by Ofcom said that phases 2 and 3 of the licensing platform modifications were being delayed instead of going forward later this year and in early 2025. The planned changes include limits being set on the number of call signs an individual amateur can hold. In this case, only one personal license per individual. This will require hams who advance to the next license class to surrender their previous license. Ofcom had hoped to introduce the M8 and M9 call signs for those passing the intermediate license exam to replace the 2 series, and as an optional change for intermediate license holders currently holding the 2E0 and 2E1 call signs. It's expected that at some unknown point, however, Ofcom will take back all numeral 2 call sign prefixes. Also, when these changes take effect, hams will be permitted to change their call sign, but not more than once every 5 years. The delay also affects changes to the application process for special events, which Ofcom has said will become simpler, fully automated and quicker. Ofcom did not give a date for when these changes would go forward. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
As Cyclone Dana descended upon India recently, hams were deployed to keep messages getting through in case the information network was knocked out. We have more on that story from Jim Meechan, ZL2 BHF.
As eastern India prepared to be battered by Cyclone Dana on the night of October 23rd, amateur radio operators were getting in place to ensure lines of communications stayed open in the states of Odisha and West Bengal. Relief workers were deployed and 1.5 million people were evacuated and moved out of harm's way. The West Bengal Radio Club quickly established 2 amateur radio mobile stations at the request of the district magistrate. The hams also set up 3 base radio operations at governmental offices powered with backup battery power in case the weather took out the information infrastructure. With its arrival, the cyclone brought wind speeds of 100 to 110 kilometers per hour or 62 to 68 miles per hour, snapping power lines and uprooting trees. Airports and schools were shut down. The cyclone's wind gusts reached as high as 120 kilometers per hour or 75 miles per hour before weakening. Early reports from officials in Odisha indicated that there was no loss of life. Unfortunately, 1 person was reported killed in Bengal. This is Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
India's foremost wireless pioneer is once again front and center in a month-long on-air tribute that lasts until mid-December. Want to work the station? Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, tells us how.
For the past 17 years, DATA, the U2 DSI, has celebrated the pride of wireless communication in India. Born on the 30th of November 1858, Jagadish Chandra Bose was a scientist who gained global respect for his work in botany, physics, and electromagnetism. He melded the many worlds of science in different ways to bring various discoveries to light. According to Britannica, his experiments in the 1890s with very short radio waves would eventually contribute insights for later researchers working in the realm of solid-state physics. He is perhaps best known among India's amateurs as the father of wireless communication. His discoveries were made with homebrew equipment. The scientist, who died in 1937, has touched the heart and imagination of DATA, who is once again calling CQ as Alpha Uniform to Juliet Charlie Bravo to honour him. This year, he'll be putting the special event call sign on the air from the 15th of November through to the 16th of December. For more details, see the QRZ page for AU2JCB. This is Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
Although many amateur radio special events focus on the earliest pioneering efforts that established communication via telegraphy, hams in Brazil are celebrating the 125th anniversary of the first wireless transmission of the human voice. The inventor-scientist was a Catholic priest. We hear more about him from Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Listen throughout the month of November for PR5LM on the air. The L and the M represent the name of Padre Landel de Moura, an ordained priest and inventor fascinated with the concept of transmitting the human voice and later images wirelessly. Before his death in 1928, Padre de Moura had successfully transmitted both music and voice on the electromagnetic spectrum, a feat celebrated throughout Brazil since his accomplishment in 1899. The declaration of National Amateur Radio Day in Brazil on the 5th of November honors his work, as well as the 1924 government decree that established regulation of amateur radio stations in Brazil. By then, the priest had already been granted a U.S. patent whilst he was in New York City in 1904 for what was known as a wave transmitted. It used a form of modulation that we know today as amplitude modulation. Amateurs in Brazil will be active on all the HF bands, including CW, SSB, RTTY and FT8, and hope to make contact as well via the QO100 satellite. They hope each contact will pay tribute to the man who successfully navigated that delicate territory balancing religion and science. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
The world's shortwave listeners and DXers have been grieving the loss of a great friend. We hear more about him from Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Anker Peterson was devoted to DX listening, shortwave radio, and to others who loved them too. Shortly after his death in Denmark was reported in late October, hams, shortwave listeners, and other friends flocked to social media to share their memories of a man they recalled with fondness and respect. The radio enthusiast played a significant role in the Danish Shortwave Club International, which he served for a time as chairman. He was also editor of the Domestic Broadcasting Survey and Tropical Bands Monitor. Anker's voice could be heard as one of the presenters of the club's international shortwave news and music program, DX Window. The club disbanded in 2016. Anker was remembered as having founded the European DX Council in June of 1967. The council's membership eventually grew to include DX clubs and listeners in Asia and elsewhere in the Pacific region. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
In the latest blow to Boeing, one of its Intelsat communications satellites blew up in late October while in geostationary orbit and has been declared a total loss. The fragments are being tracked by the U.S. Space Force and Roscosmos, but U.S. officials said that they have detected no immediate threats to other satellites. The development is yet another setback for Boeing, which is already dealing with a variety of issues, including its troubled Starliner spacecraft, which NASA brought back to Earth without its two-person test flight crew on board because of thruster failures. No cause for the explosion was disclosed. The satellite is frequently used for internet, telephone, and satellite TV and radio broadcast signals. According to published reports, its launch in 2016 had been delayed by 3 months after it developed problems with its primary thruster. Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K6 PVR repeater in Ventura,
W3OC.
Local time. A Massachusetts ham and a North Dakota Amateur Radio Club have been declared top scorers in their participation in Hamsi's Solar Eclipse QSO Party this past April. Here's Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
Congratulations to Dennis Egan, W1UE, who claimed the highest score in the category of single op during Hamsi's Solar Eclipse QSO Party. He shares the glory with the Sierras Valley Amateur Radio Club, K0AJW, in North Dakota, which claimed the #1 spot in the multi-op category. Hamsi, the Citizen Science Investigation Organization, made the announcement on its website on the 24th of October and thanked all amateur radio operators who got on the air. Those QSOs helped generate data for space physics research about the eclipse's impact on the HF radio spectrum. And of course, that makes science itself the biggest winner. This is Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
A hydrogen balloon from Arizona has ended its month of silence with transmissions that were picked up by a ground station in Antarctica. John Williams, VK4JJW, has more on what happened.
Many months after it marked its first anniversary of orbiting the Earth, the WB-6RER Pico balloon was spotted over the Antarctic. Germany's Antarctic station, Neumayer 3, the DP0GVN/1, provided the good news following a period of concern when the balloon appeared to have gone silent for 5 months. The October 15th spot by the Antarctic Scientific Research Station showed that the balloon was flying at an altitude of 45,735 feet with its solar panel measuring 3.88 volts. Weighing 11 grams, the hydrogen gas-filled balloon was launched in May of 2023 from Golden Valley, Arizona by the Wallapai Amateur Radio Club. One of its greatest challenges during its year in orbit has been to overcome damage to its 20-meter dipole antenna. This is John Williams, VK4JJW.
In the world of DX, Alex K6VHF will be using the call sign K6VHF/HR9 from Roatan Island, Honduras, IOTA number NA057, from the 3rd through the 9th of November, operating mainly digital modes on various bands. See QRZ.com for QSL details. The 4U1 GSC Amateur Radio Club is using the special call sign for an event commemorating the 30th anniversary of the United Nations Global Service Center in Brindisi, Italy. Listen for operators between the 15th of November to the end of the year. QSL via 9A2AA. Mikado JI5RPT is on the air as JD1BLY from Shishijima, Ogasawara, IOTA number AS031, from the 7th to the 10th of November using FT8, CW, and sideband. Be listening on 40 through 6 meters and through the satellite. See QRZ.com for QSL details. The ONZ Ostkust Radio Club, ON6HC, is using the call sign OT80CLM from the 1st through the 11th of November. This call sign recognizes the Canadian Liberation March, which marks the liberation of the Belgian town of Anoke Heist from German occupation on November 1st, 1944, and honors the soldiers who were a part of it. See QRZ.com for QSL information. Our final story takes us to Robert Moses State Park, a beachfront park on Long Island, New York. This is where the Atlantic Ocean meets the island's southern shore, and it's where one amateur radio club is preparing a special event tribute to a silent key who had been one of the club's founders and presidents. We hear about this special event and this special radio operator from Paul Brown, WV9GCO. Even long after he became legally blind in 2015, Walt Grosser, W2TE, would still find a ham friend who could bring him to Robert Moses State Park so he could experience his many antennas by the ocean and indulge in one of his favorite DXing. The son of Raymond Grosser, 3WP, and the father of John Grosser, W2TE. He was an avid operator who belonged to the Long Island DX Association and the Long Island CW Club. Walt loved boating, aviation, and all things Marconi, traveling with his friend Tom, KA2D, to the World Radio Sports Team Championship in Bologna, Italy, to make a kind of pilgrimage to the radio pioneer's birthplace in 2023. This past July, at the age of 92, Walt became a silent key. His legacy includes Great South Bay Radio Club in Camelot, New York. President, including the founding president. Same members will be on the HS stands from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. local time. Although they'll be calling for a club called W2GSB, with every QSO, their thoughts will be of W2TE, the founder and a friend forevermore. This is Paul Brown, W9GCO. It was like poetry. Joyce, one haiku challenge. Sending an original haiku to us through Line, entry like AR News AmericaNewsline.org, and please follow the rules for writing a 3-line haiku. Sorry, but we cannot accept any entries that aren't written in traditional haiku form. Share with fellow listeners the poetry that is inspired by your ham radio experience. With thanks to Amateur Radio Daily, AmericaRadio.com, that news service, Bob Myers, K2TV, VU2GSI, David PR, K7TV, Gadget, European DX Council, 425DX News, Great South Bay Amateur Radio Club, Kathmandu Post, Landlidmora.org, Millennium Post, Ofcom, QRZ.com, Radio World, ShortwaveRadio.de, The Statesman, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating. For now, with Gary Murray, saying 7-3. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2024, all rights reserved.
Okay, it's W3OC. That concludes this week's Newsline transmission. While listening to that, I went and dug out the ARRL DX bulletin that came out here Thursday, dated October 31st. They have a bunch of stuff at DX stations that are operations that are scheduled. Let's see, try to highlight some of them. Rodriguez Island, 3B9, M0CFW is currently operating to the 27th. Eswatini, that's a country in Africa. 3D Alpha 0, 3DA Alpha 0 Delta Lima until November 9th. That's coming up. That'll be ending pretty soon. Maldives, Morocco. These are the expeditions that are currently ongoing or coming up. Interesting one is Antarctica. Says David F4 Kilo Foxtrot Kilo Tango will be on the air as Fox Tango 4 Yankee Mexico from Concordia Base. That's an IOTA number, Alpha November Oscar 17, from November until the end of January. St. Bartholomew, that's in the Caribbean. French Guiana, that's in the Caribbean. Honduras, Central America, Argentina, Belgium, Gabon, Belize, Namibia, that's in Africa. A group of operators are QRV, that means on the air as V55 Lima Alpha until November 11th. The big ones here coming up is Cocos Keeling. That's a group of islands off of Australia, I believe. It's that the large group of operators will be operating as Victor Kilo 9 Charlie Victor until November 15th. Activity is 160 through 10 meters, and maybe on 6 meters, and FT8, sideband, and so forth. QSL routing is Oscar Kilo 6 Delta India. Delta Japan. That's Cocos Keeling. That's a nice one to get. Burkina Faso. There's XT2 Mexico Delta. I think that's in Africa, I believe. St. Helena. I've actually heard the St. Helena operation. They have quite a tourist place down there that a lot of these guys are using for St. Helena. St. Helena used to be a pretty rare prefix in the old days. And of course, it said this week on the radio contests include the ARL Sweepstakes CW, which I mentioned, NCCC FT4 Sprint, that's a digital sprint for weekly RIDI test, NCCCW Sprint, Silent Key Memorial Contest, I don't know what that is, iPark Contest, EA Net Sprint, and High Speed CW Club CW Contest. Okay, those are some of the things that are coming up. That's from the ARL Bulletin. They also say, please see November QST, page 78, and also from the ARL, and the WA7 Bravo November Mexico contest website for details. WA7 Bravo November Mexico. I've looked at that in the past. It's a good source for that kind of stuff. Okay. At this time, I'll take a standby. Does anybody need repeats for anything they've heard? This is W3OC. Right, now we'll take some late check-in. Check-in, not so calling up. Net here, all right. Well, we're going to close the net out of this hour. It's 8:39 p.m. local time. I count 21 check-ins on the ROT here tonight. I guess we had 1, 2, 3 on Echolink. Thank you for that. And with that, we're going to turn the repeater back to General Amateurs. Maybe we'll catch some of you folks on Wednesday nights at GapNet and meet at 8:30 on this system up here. And don't forget to vote tomorrow if you haven't already. This is Whiskey 3 Oscar Charlie, also known as W3ON, closing at Two Rivers Net. Good night.